Good evening, adventurers. Welcome. I hope you are all well. Without further ado and much anticipation, last time we played Dungeons and Dragons, you all had come to the lands of Barovia in search of a piece of the Rod of Seven Parts. You encountered cultists dedicated to the Baron Strahd von Zarevich, as well as agents of Lord Vecna. You scoured the Death House and recovered the piece of the Rod of Seven Parts you were searching for. Thereafter, you returned to the town of Vallaki, where you have rested for the evening. The next day, as the following evening approaches, outside of the Blue Water Inn in the town of Vallaki, you could hear the sound of carriages making their way over the cobbled streets of Vallaki towards the inn where you have all been waiting for your meeting with Baron Strahd von Zarevich at his castle overlooking the lands of Barovia. Outside of the Blue Water Inn, two dark carriages round up, and their doors open of their own accord, beckoning you to enter them. What would you like to do?
Totally start going toward one of the carriages.
Mavithor will join her.
Lep will go in the other carriage.
There's seating for 4 in each carriage. So you guys can split up any way you wish.
Mercy's going in the opposite one.
The cultist and his servant will enter the car that Mercy enters.
Yeah, I guess that means the Michaeloth will join Mavithor and Lilith.
Yeah, you still got that demon with you. Alright. Fangs hops in as well. They can probably lay on the floor of one of either carriage. As soon as the last of you enter your transportation, the doors slam shut. The insides of these two carriages, pulled by no horse, are sort of a fine, deep plum velvet color. The cushions are luscious and squishy and quite comfortable. There are little portholes on either side of the carriage in the doors themselves, which have no handles, a little bit like a cop car. And as soon as you're all seated, the wheels on the carriages begin to roll. Out of Vallaki and onto the old Slavich road, beginning their winding path back towards the town of Barovia and Castle Ravenloft, where Strahd and 4 other vampire lords who have arrived by invitation from Baron Strahd are awaiting some kind of ceremony that's going to take place this evening, where Lilith will choose a lawfully wedded dreadlord. Bound by a curse, I'm most certain. Um, during the carriage ride, you guys can speak to each other. You can drink any potions you might want to do, cast any spells, prepare any way that you see fit.
Lilith's gonna turn to Mavathor, and she's gonna say, I think Mercy's still mad at me.
Hmm. She wasn't very talkative this morning, so maybe.
Probably. I don't know why she's so mad. I told her what happened. It's like she doesn't believe me or something.
Well, I think she believes you. I think it's just the way you went about doing what you did that upset her the most.
Sound a little strange. Couldn't I try something with you?
Sure.
Okay, so how this happened last time is there was something in Irina's eyes, and it's like a light. It's kind of hard to explain. I knew it was her, or at least that she was being truthful in what she was telling Mercy.
Okay.
So she's gonna like stretch out her hands to your face, and she's gonna be like, "Can I?" Like,
Okay.
and then she's just gonna like look into your eyes, and she's gonna say, "Tell me something about yourself that I don't know. It can be truthful or not truthful."
Hmm. Anything?
Anything.
Okay. But you said it's something you haven't heard before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I visited Crayley's house recently.
Going to this heart's reflection.
I don't know if you have a way to turn your audio up a little bit, Lilith. I'm having a hard time hearing you, and I got you cranked up all the way.
Yeah, my mic's all the way down.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Thank you. I thought it was your setup. I've been messing with everyone's individual audio.
Am I supposed to say if it's truthful or not? Or, I mean, I guess you can, Mavathor.
Yeah, it was truthful.
You're telling the truth, aren't you?
Yeah, I did.
Hell, there's a light in your eyes. I don't know how else to explain it, but I guess it'll come in use. Everything that's going on.
Yeah. We'll see. But speaking of getting ready, he'll cast Death Ward on Lilith.
Lilith, did you design your subclass specifically to counter Cass?
Oh, but that's really funny. Because I did not think about that at all.
I didn't finish comparing some of the higher end abilities you have, so I still might have to like send you some notes on it, but everything,
Okay.
most of the other stuff, I just kind of have to compare it against, you know, some of the other paladins higher level stuff. But,
Okay. Yeah, that's all
but I'll give you some notes on it eventually at some point. What's the highest level like new subclass ability you can use now?
Let's see here. think it's Art's Reflection. Could be wrong. Yeah, Heart's Reflection and Graceful Duelist.
Oh, okay. So you don't have the big boys yet?
Mm-mm.
I thought maybe you'd have like a level 14 one maybe, but... Alright, then we should be good to go. Death Ward, what's going on over in the other carriage?
Musician sees the land.
Yeah, as you guys are bumping along the old Slavic road, you know, as you leave Vallaki out of the northern side of the, well, I guess, yeah, you're traveling east, so out of the northern side of the carriage, you can see sort of a light mist hanging over Lake Zarovich, just outside of Vallaki. To the south of you, all out of the portholes, you can see the sparse forest until the carriages eventually make their way into sort of a winding creviced hillside. As you pass through out of the little portholes, all you can really see for a time is the edges of rock face, kind of like driving through a mountain pass. But eventually the carriage winds around and sparse forest begins to come visible once again. Lilith, you know these lands well, having grown up in them. How is Lilith feeling about the fate of Barovia and its people if things don't go well for you this evening? What does Lilith hope happens tonight?
Although she definitely does not tell Mercy or Lep. She's discussed it. Can't talk tonight. Discussed it with Mavthor and Jin, but she's planning to try and take Strahd's powers and hope that it doesn't corrupt her, so she can kind of turn Barovia into a sanctuary.
I found kind of a cool map of
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, that's cool.
Ravenloft. Oops. I don't know why this little guy's here.
Oh, it's been a while since I've seen this map.
Yeah, it's the first time for me, actually. I thought it was possible that could become important one way or another. And so I tried to find something. But yeah, it's kind of a visual representation of the realms of dread here.
Oh.
Oh man, the nostalgia's hitting hard.
I don't know any of these places, but this is so
Me
cool.
neither.
Oh, I haven't seen this since probably 2 or 3.
Yeah, when I'm looking at this map now, I'm kind of like, fuck, a Ravenloft campaign would be pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well, there is a chunk of these territories here, Lilith, that you're fighting for tonight. I know that Lilith has a compassion for the people of Barovia, that they are under the heel of their lord Strahd and have been for hundreds of years now. Trapped in this realm of dread, the only comings and goings are those of the Vistani, and those that the Vistani trail back into Barovia for Strahd to torment when he grows bored. of his lust for the incarnations of his lost love. Carriage continues along the Slavich Road, unimpeded. Why don't you guys make some perception checks for me, though?
Or
Yeah.
there you go with paying attention.
Aw, I'll laugh.
Doing
He's
so
self-absorbed in
good.
his tea.
There's
Not a
an
lot on his mind.
Yeah.
there's an unsettling dread hanging in the air in the lands of Barovia this evening. This quiet carriage ride starts to become somewhat unsettling. As you pass along the roads through the forest and hills, the lands of Barovia are silent this day. There is not a flap of a bat's wing, a howl of a wolf, the caw of a raven to be heard throughout the duration of your carriage ride so far. The mists of Barovia seem to be hanging quite low, pressing in on Barovia, making it feel small, making you all feel smaller than you are. Mavathor, after you all pass the west gate, the road back towards Barovia and Castle Ravenloft begin to sort of ascend and then kind of come up onto a precipice and flatten out. And when you guys crest that ridge, you can get sort of a side panorama of Castle Ravenloft, which is currently illuminated in a red glow. Crimson light spills out of every orifice of the castle, and it is sort of this dreaded beacon perched atop this cliff face that casts a shadow down over the village below. With your natural 20 perception check, there's something else casting a shadow on Castle Ravenloft. And through the mists, you can see the outline of 3 massive figures. Towering over the keep, lurched, almost like they stretch with the concave of like the space around the castle itself, like it's just looming, curved over Castle Ravenloft. And there's something about when you look up at these figures, you feel like they're watching you.
He'll elbow Lilith and say, are those supposed to be there?
We'll look at that.
When Mavathor points it out, you take a long gaze at Castle Ravenloft and kind of looking at a magic eye puzzle, your eyes kind of go in and out of focus, and eventually the 3 figures come into vision, and they're just these large, sort of looming, shapeless forms that can just be barely perceived through the mist. You might be muted.
Or your
or your mic
needs
just
to be
didn't pick,
closer.
Where's your mic?
or you just didn't get picked
Hey.
up. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I guess I gotta talk like this tonight. She just looks and goes, I've never seen those. This is new to me.
Either Strahd's done some major renovations or he's made some friends.
You guys curve around, and the looming castle draws closer and closer, and eventually you pass through the Ravenloft gates, where the carriages begin their final ascent to the grounds of Castle Ravenloft itself. In another 5 or 10 minutes, you will arrive at the gates of your father's stronghold. Do you guys have any plots, ploys, plans that you're going to
Well,
enact?
we've
What
got
game
a
plan?
I've got a Black Friday's worth of plot plans,
All right.
ploys, schemes, and gimmicks.
As you
Lilith
guys,
has a plan. I'm not sure it matches with everyone else.
What was
Yeah.
it we talked about last week?
as you guys come around the last little curve, the carriages pass through a sprawling garden of hedges that are immaculately trimmed. They pass through the drawbridge that is lowered over sort of a creviced gap, and as they're midway through the bridge, crossing over into the inner grounds of the walls of Castle Ravenloft, doors of carriages all swing open at once, and before you can blink, a chilling mist fills the cabins of the carriages, and you feel chilled to the bone, and you all take 1 level of exhaustion. With a stiff breeze, the mists flow away and billow off of the sides of the bridge, and the doors of the carriages remain open. As you curve into the inner courtyard, the carriages loop around a tall fountain of peasant woman, sort of standing with her hands folded down in front of her skirt, and the carriages stop. There's a set of stone stairs that makes its way up to the front entrance of Castle Ravenloft, and the portcullis is raised, and the 2 massive wooden doors are wide open. Spilling out from the main entryway is a velvet red carpet that trails down to the bottom of the stairs and lines its way up into the inner hall of Castle Ravenloft. Even from here, you can make out the low thrum of conversation echoing down through the main hall of Castle Ravenloft and spilling out down the stairs to the carriages that have pulled up in front of the keep.
After we'll motion for Lilith to take the first step. I think you're muted again.
Or your mic.
Just
Oh, there you go.
being today.
This sound.
It's just being funky. Alright, hold on, let me try something.
Time for your grand entrance, princess.
Yeah.
I don't think it would help you with the mist, Jin.
Okay.
Unless you
Yeah,
want to
okay.
make an argument for it. It's like a supernatural effect, the mists, you know.
Ow.
The only argument I'd make is it renders me immune from any sort of detection or emotional manipulation. But if,
I mean,
if you say no,
it's
then
not something you're
no.
making a saving throw or anything for, you know.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this better?
Yes.
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 Alright, there you go. I think something might have been turned down on this.
Time to turn you way down.
Yep.
As you guys step out of the carriages, up on the ramparts, Lilith, you look up, and sort of standing center mass above the entrance, you can see your father standing up there on the ramparts with sort of one hand across his chest, with his nose kind of turned up, looking down at you all. As he sees you all sort of get out of the carriages, he gives a little grin out of the side of his mouth, and he turns on his heel and walks away from the ramparts.
Just kind of lets out a little growl.
When we get out, you will see that Mercy is now officially changed. She did so in the carriage. I'm going to repost the picture in Discord. Pretty much that, but with much more reasonable boots. And the coat only comes down to about her hips. And in addition, you will see that on her left chest, there are now several shiny medals and commendations. She now looks more or less like a military general rather than the rough bounty hunter you're used to.
You look good, Mercy.
I think those boots are reasonable for Barovia.
Oh, no.
No, King.
Not for Mercy.
I'm not having anime protagonists.
I mean, your thighs aren't exposed. You got pants on under there, you know.
The technical term is just stab me now.
She has plenty of other things to stab with.
I ran a game for about a year and a half for some guys that I'm friends with who live in Florida, and I just kind of met them this weird way, and we started playing D&D together, and they would all use anime pictures for every character that they made, and it was so frustrating for me.
At least they kept to a singular aesthetic, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I may have
Got a point.
I may have punished him for it during one of our adventures once, but
I listened to a podcast once where there was a wild magic effect that the barbarian, if they did like anime style, Sailor Moon style announcements for their attacks and stuff, the DM gave them a bonus just because it was a wild magic effect. And by the way, Ryan, I did attune to the Sun Sword. I don't know if you remember, since it's supposedly sentient.
for sure. Every now and again, how are you wearing it? Where are you wearing it?
I was gonna see if, since it's just a hilt, if she could hide it on her person somewhere.
Well,
in
it has
case they,
it
try and
has
take
it has
her.
it has like a sheath, you know.
Then her swords will probably just be like on her belt. Like I said, she's going for the very professional.
Sort of a
aesthetic here.
formal, on the hip, formal kind of deal.
More or less.
Every once in a while, as you guys were getting closer to Ravenloft, you could feel the sword sort of jiggle in the hilt a little bit, almost like it's trying to jump free. You kind of have to like press it down and hold the handle for a moment for it to calm down.
She'll just glare at it.
You guys are standing at the base of the steps of the castle, and I've had a bit of time to think about this encounter, so why don't you guys tell me any plans that you have, and I'll tell you why they won't work, so we can avoid some frustrations.
Plan we were talking about from a week before last was trying to turn all of the vampire lords against each other.
Oh, okay. Well, that's something.
Battle Royale style.
I meant trying to like get into the keep from another way, or splitting up, or any of that kind of stuff.
All right. You want
we didn't get to that far.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want a list of the plots that are currently in play?
Sure.
I can list. At the top of the list is a lep
there's
doing
a
lep.
list.
Yeah. Lep being lep.
Yes.
Sleepy lep. In the middle of the castle.
Chaos Unchained.
Okay.
Chaos Unchained.
The sweeping mist through the carriages before you arrived on the grounds was sort of a warning shot. Strahd shot at you that this is going to go his way.
That's what he thinks.
Okay, well, that's like I said. This is why we have more than one plan.
Yes.
Plan number two. Dago is a cultist, and Jin is his servant. For the purposes of being overlooked and underestimated.
Okay.
Yes.
I think going in, we're basically like Lilith's entourage.
So are you and Thago dressed as like the cultists you encountered in Death House, the ones that were kind of a...
Yep.
Okay, cool.
We have we have the robe that we stole from the Durst cultist.
Have you are you casting like alter self or anything like that, or
No, just a simple or not so simple, like application of the disguise.
Okay.
Full cut. So the robes have been doctored up a little bit to more appropriately fit in with the occasion, and a lot of body language has been shifted to the point that neither Thago nor Jin are easily recognizable.
Well, if you guys would like to cast any spells on yourselves or each other, or use any potions before you make your way inside, you're more than welcome to.
How big of a grand entrance do we want?
We have the belle of the ball. We are her simple vassals. Let's make her
I
shine.
mean, you guys are more than welcome to just charge in there, guns blazing. It's up to you.
I mean, I don't think that's what we're gonna do.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I got more plans.
I mean, go for it, share 'em.
Yeah, so the general idea is to use everyone else as a distraction, and then through the use of uh, Lilith's memories, break off and hunt down the source of Strahd's power and destroy it.
We also have those orbs.
Yeah,
And those orbs, yes.
and the orbs.
Lep was just gonna be a distraction.
Yep.
Bring back the leprechaun!
So you guys want to enter together, but Jin and Thago want to stay behind and wait?
The idea is yes to enter together, and then at some point Jin and Thago will break off, or
Okay.
some combination of Jin or Thago in combination with another party member, or somehow a split is likely going to happen
Okay.
unless a giant brawl takes place immediately when we walk in, which could happen. It's D&D.
Yeah.
Well then,
I think the general idea was Mavathor would stick with Lilith and Mercy with Lepus, since they
Yeah.
are the two most in danger, theoretically.
Endangered and smagered. It's fine. We're fine.
It's not like anyone here wants to kill us or anything.
Yeah.
I think my original thought was to leave Thago with to keep an eye on the party, and then Jin would scour the castle doing Jin things.
all right. Well,
because I am under mind blank.
As am I.
let's see. Immune to psychic, any effect that would sense its emotion or read its thoughts, divination spells, charm conditions, even foils, wish spells, or similar power used to affect the target's mind. Gain information. Okay. So you guys make your way up the red velvet carpet, up the stairs that lead up to the main entrance, and you can see a long stretch of hallway before you. Before you pass through the front doors of Castle Ravenloft. You can see large oil paintings lining the walls. 4 lords that you spotted from Death House clopping their way through town up to the keep. And at the top of the stairs, the sound of conversation and shrieking chuckle now and again grows a little louder. As you pass through the gates into the long hall, into the castle itself, I need Mavathor to make a wisdom saving throw, Lep to make a strength saving throw, Mercy to make an intelligence saving throw, Jin to make a wisdom saving throw, and Lilith to make a strength saving
Oh, I'm so weak.
I actually have pretty good strength.
By the way, you guys all have DM inspiration for the last session.
Okay. No, the disadvantage, so 27.
Oh yeah, disadvantage. Yeah.
Lep and Mercy.
No, it's just for ability checks.
Oh yeah.
I just accidentally hit it for...
Lep and Mercy.
We are. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, are we within aura range?
You guys can be close enough together, you know.
And I'm assuming whatever the wisdom saving throw is.
This is a DC 25.
Okay. We're ignoring mind blank. Got it.
Oh, DC 25. There's no way Love can beat that.
With auras, I think you will.
Yeah.
Because you have a +5 for me.
And you have a +8 from Mavathor.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, then he succeeds.
Yeah.
You would have 28.
Oh, is it +8 now?
What is Mercy, do you want to use your inspiration?
I was going to say, I still had one from before, so can I use the extra now?
Yeah, sure, why not?
There we go. That will be a 29.
Okay. None of you receive a curse.
Oh, thank
good.
Jesus.
Oh, good.
Thank goodness for
Oh,
recall
God.
and auras.
It would have
Yeah.
it would have been I rolled randomly for each of the saving throws. It would have been disadvantage until your next long rest on if you failed on whatever save I made you make.
See, I thought you
Oh.
went purposely for our lowest ones. 'cause
Yeah,
that
that's
was
what I
my
thought.
lowest saving
No,
throw.
Well-
I rolled
No.
randomly. I rolled randomly for them.
I mean, he was targeting wisdom with me, so I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and strength with me.
I rolled.
Okay,
I rolled.
fair enough,
I
so
rolled
just
random
me
for
for
them.
my worst.
Yes. Yeah. It was random. It was random for everybody. You guys pass down the hall. The sound of the conversation growing louder with every step. As you pass by the paintings of the four dreadlords, it feels like their eyes are moving as you pass them. And you make your way into the main foyer of Castle Ravenloft. You can see...
Can Mercy tap Lilith on the shoulder real quick?
Sure.
Wait, where did that come from? I didn't hit the macro for that.
It's a ghost.
Jin
that's
suddenly
weird.
stabs someone.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
no, wasn't me.
As you guys step in, you can see a large set of stairs that connects in the middle and makes its way up to a high balcony.
Sorry, could I had wanted to say something real quick to Lilith.
Sure.
Okay, she's just gonna lean in. Don't look meek. Try and look imperious, like someone not to be messed with. That's
Straightens her back a little bit.
You
Get
guys,
that very haughty
Stands a little
look.
tone.
you guys can see in kind of around the room here, there are basins of blood stationed about. Some of the lords congregate in different places before you. As you guys make your way in, eyes from the different groups around the room kind of fall on you momentarily, and the conversation briefly dulls. Lilith, you meet the eyes of each of the lords. You can see...
She winks at them.
You can see standing among what seems to be a human man and two dark-armored knights, surrounded by a few vampire spawn that are dressed in black, tightly fitted black formal gowns. Lord Drakov, with a big spear slung on his back. He's holding a goblet of red liquid in a crystal goblet, a clear crystal goblet. And, you guys can see little trays kind of hovering around with goblets of blood on them. Little unseen servants kind of making their way between the guests currently in attendance. Lord Vlad gives you this devilish grin as he raises his glass and tips his head towards you. You can see
Gives a nod.
up on the balcony, standing alone, a human-looking man who's tall and wide in stature. He's got very broad shoulders. he stands out a little bit from the other lords. He has sort of more of a fleshy skin tone, like a human. You can see even from the bottom of the stairs, icy blue eyes, and he actually has sort of a softness to his face, despite a few scars on his forehead and cheek. He's got a chain shirt you can see, and a heavy furred royal blue cloak on. He maintains a stoic expression, but he gazes upon you like the rest of the lords do. You can see off to the left of you, surrounded by a couple of little pink-skinned goblins and a twisted root-like creature, a dryad of some sort, Lord Fairchild, who looks to be by far the youngest of the vampire lords currently present. His blonde hair is kind of covering one of his eyes, and as you all enter, he kind of brushes it to one side, and he kind of puffs his chest out a little bit proudly and gives you like a half bow. And at the top center part of the stairs, you can see King Aslan, dressed kind of like a goth steampunk hipster. He's got two bright red roses pinned to his chest and chains dangling off of his coat and his pants, and he's got these deep, dark, sunken eyes. His hair's kind of wispy and blowing like somebody's pointing a fan at him or something. It's kind of moving, wafting like the wind is blowing, but the air is still here. He's
the anime emo.
Yeah, he's the anime emo. Yeah. His skin is deeply pale, almost gray, and there's like a red flash in his eyes as he turns, and he pulls a goblet of blood off of a little tray floating past him, and he begins to descend the stairs towards you.
Can Mercy snag one of the goblets from a passing tray?
Yeah, sure.
And she's just going to give it a sniff and then kind of dip her pinky in and taste test it.
It's blood.
No, she's just going to make a face and roll her eyes and
Oh.
toss it back on the tray. My lady, your father has poor taste. This is beneath you.
Well, make
Oh,
a...
Hi.
It's not important.
Oh yeah, Lilith or Lepus and Mercy still have those blood red eyes too.
Yeah.
And bonus.
Most of the room here is cast in sort of a red glow. These red globes up along the banisters are all gently illuminating the area. You believe, Lilith, that these were the orbs that Piddlewick had warned you about that can absorb sunlight. But they're currently providing ambience. As
Lilith's gonna... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Lilith's gonna kind of look to Mathor and like gesture to like the orbs.
Mercy, you hear a ticking sound. Tick, tick, tick. Very softly, very profoundly out of place. It ticked. How many is that? 10 times? 12. It ticks 12 times.
Does anything happen after that?
No.
Okay.
Does she know what that is?
You're familiar with the sound of Quotient's clockwork.
Ah.
Fair enough. She's going to turn to Cultist Jin, though, and just give him a kick. Off to the kitchens with you. Make yourself useful.
Yeah, a very scowling Fago looks to Lilith first. To see if those orders are hers.
Well, I'll describe a few last sort of features of what's going on here. You can tell that the other lords were sort of waiting for King Aslan to act first, like there's a pecking order here. And scoping out the room, Jin, you can tell that every exit down out to another part of the castle is stationed by a vampire spawn.
Can I point out which ones are the weakest?
or a thrall, who are all sort of wearing the same velvety black dress. I think that's it for the room. I'm not leaving anything out. At a very casual pace, with these long, spindly legs, almost long enough to take these stairs 2 steps at a time. Lord Aslan is making his way down to you, grinning out of both sides of his mouth, with a second goblet of blood in hand. He's kind of swirling his own in the other. If there was anything you guys wanted to get out before he makes his way down, go ahead.
Yeah, the Mercy, the tick, they seem to, when you hear them, they seem to originate from a different part of the room, or at least it sort of sounds that way. And as you turn your head, like it's in the direction of an orb, each tick.
Okay. And she would have made the comment about the poor quality of the blood loud enough for them to hear, especially Aslan as he's approaching. But then, yeah, does Lilith want to send our little cultist away to be useful?
She looks back at a disguised Thago and she goes to the kitchens with you.
Disguised Jin. Thago is being Jin.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember what the Lilith moniker was among the cultists. I know Strahd is, he is ancient, he is the land. I don't remember off the top of my head what Lilith was, and I really should have.
Did
It's like she is resplendent, she is his legacy or something like that.
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
Was that for her?
Oh no, though that was half of that chant was for the summoning, and the other half was for they were chanting. They were chanting about the woman who was spiked with the rod piece.
Oh, okay.
And
never mind then.
And then about Strahd.
Care about me.
So half of it was the demon summoning, and half of it was a dedication.
Got it.
Yeah.
You know what? We do it anyway, as we are ordered. They go as cultists will bow and say she is resplendent. She is his legacy. and he will depart for the kitchens.
All right.
Lilith tries not to laugh.
You can make an insight check for me, Jin.
I assume at disadvantage because we are all exhausted.
1 level of exhaustion.
Great. That would be an 11.
Even with an 11, you get the impression that these vampire spawns aren't going to let anyone just leave the room.
Well, that's unfortunate. Because they was given an order.
Oh, when he's given an order, he just
he goes in the direction of the kitchens and
yeah, these two vampires spawn over here, like, block his way.
Then Jin through Thago will say, because Thago's operating on orders, he will say, as the lady has ordered me, I am to go to the kitchens.
One of the two spawns that are there, she does a little whistle, and you see an invisible hovering tray make its way over, and kind of forcefully she swipes a goblet off of it, and some blood kind of sloshes off and drips down to the floor, and she pushes it at Thago, and the other one hisses, the meals are taken care of. Enjoy the upcoming entertainment. Indulge yourself in pleasant conversation. And she kind of shoves the goblet into Thago's hands.
I looked back to Lilith, or up to Strahd.
If somebody who was magically inclined made like an Arcana check on Thago, would they be able to tell that it was a simulacrum, do you think?
Not while he's under non-detection.
Okay. No, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't know if Jim was done with that. As that whole cultist blood thing's happening, but while this guy is still walking down the stairs, Lep is gonna look to Mercy and sort of shift his eyes over to the blondie and hold out his hand so that when this guy comes down, they'll move.
Wait, say one more time?
Lep looked to Mercy and is trying to subtly tell her, hey, we should talk to this other guy while
I see.
we're talking to this guy.
Which one was the warlord? Is it Azalin?
Aslan is from what you guys learned about. I think you guys learned about Aslan and Vlad. Vlad is the warlord. The militaristic society. You can actually see him like looking over at you kind of curiously, Mercy. He's his eyes kind of trail off of Lilith, and he spots your commendations, and you can see him kind of actually looking like he's about to make his way towards you all as well.
He's in for a rude awakening.
Mercy's just going to kind of nod to Lep to go that way, and she's going to tilt her head at Aslan and just split off.
Sure. Yeah, once you kind of once you guys kind of see that Vlad is noticed you. He pushes one of his little vampire spawns aside, and he kind of gestures you to come towards him. Make an insight check.
Sure. It's not gonna be the greatest, but we'll see what we can do. That's a 12.
As you guys made your way in, Lord Lothar barely glanced at Lilith. And then when his head sort of turned to look at the rest of you, as soon as his eyes kind of fell on you, you could see his cheeks start to become kind of flush.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
Well, I mean, Lep does look absolutely extravagant.
He starts to sort of awkwardly, like he checks his pocket square and his ruffled's coming out of his, he starts to kind of check himself a little bit. As you start making your way over there, he clears his throat and he says, "Good evening. I'm Lord Lothar Fairchild, and you might be."
I am Lepus, part of Princess Lilith's entourage. Pleasure to meet you, Lord Fairchild.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well. I know that were summoned here this evening for a special ceremony in honor of Princess Lilith. But I wasn't informed that her accompaniment would be so engaging. Where are you from?
I am from the Feywild.
That is very interesting. I don't know if I've ever met anyone from the Feywild, although I have read some about it.
Well, in the darkest reaches of there, it's almost like Barovia. Almost. Yes.
No, go ahead.
I would have to agree, though. When Princess Lilith had told me of this, I had no idea her suitors would be so accommodating.
He says, up until recently, I was the lord of lands called Diomera. One of the smaller domains, I will admit. But recently, I've conquered some other lands, a place called Forlorn. It is rife with wild lands waiting to be tamed. Perhaps if things don't work out between I and the princess, you might be able to assist me in uncovering the secrets of my new lands.
If things do not work out between you and the princess, I think that might just be a good idea.
Someone with your expertise of the wilds sounds like exactly what I need.
Of course, and someone with your drive to conquer. Sounds like a good team.
He says, would you like to quench your thirst? As he kind of spots your fangs, he reaches over to a nearby floating glass and grins as he hands one over to you.
I would love to. And he makes this the most suggestive as he stares directly into this man's eyes.
Lips are just stained red.
Yeah.
Little drip on the chin.
Yeah.
Roll a d20. Do you drink out of the goblet?
Yeah.
Roll a...
Oh no, I'm rolling something. Actually, that's okay. That's fine. We've rolled for a lot worse. A lot higher stakes.
You've got so much luck in there.
Yeah,
I believe in you.
I know. It's okay.
Remember how many good things you pulled from the deck of
I
medicine?
know. It's okay. My
Well, it
my
sounds like
lucky streak
someone's
is still
hoping
gonna
to get
go.
lucky with him, so.
Yeah.
Roll d20 for me.
Okay. That's a 14. If that fails, I will be willing to use a luck point.
No, it's not a pass or fail thing.
If it's a bad thing, I'm willing to use a luck point.
As soon as the blood touches your lips, the taste of it is exquisite. You know, you've been avoiding feeding off of humanoid blood since you've become vampiric in nature. But there's something about this luscious, velvety blood that is divine to your taste buds, your senses, its smell, everything about it. And as soon as you drink some, suddenly this welling thirst rises up inside of you. Something you can also tell about it, being experienced in tasting magical concoctions, is that the blood is also enchanted.
Ah. Of course it's enchanted, but that's alright.
You feel like a lingering essence remaining as the blood sort of fills you up, and you can cast Bane as a bonus action without expending a spell slot.
Hey.
You take, however, 2d4 psychic damage for each creature affected.
Okay. Cool.
You can see Lothar kind of, react to your display of drinking. Your suggestive swallowing of the blood in the goblet, and you can hear him. You can see like his throat kind of well up, and you hear him take a big gulp. As like little beads of sweat start to form on his lips.
Well, this is going out better than I planned.
You can see all the little pink goblins like looking up at him like, what's going on?
I did say Lepus being Lepus was plan A.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's a priority.
Finally, King Aslan makes his way down this to sort of stop in front of you, and he's quite tall. He's probably 2 feet taller than you, Lilith, and even standing up on a step above you as well. And despite his kind of slender frame, there is something imposing about his presence, and my voice is kind of wrecked, but he's got a very sultry, patient, smooth tone. And he says, well, at last we meet. Lord Strahd had written about his daughter to us in letters, and of course I've
Things, I hope.
seen you once before when you were but a young girl. You have quite grown up quite nicely, Princess. It is a pleasure to bask in your presence this evening. I am Lord King Aslan. I rule over the lands of Darkon. It is an honor to be here this evening, to take part in the union that may be forged this night.
Walking up the stairs, she's gonna come over here. And she's going to pretend like she's being cool, and she's gonna just slightly, like, go too far against the rail and knock over that orb. As she's talking.
Yeah, give me an athletics check.
Okay.
Jin, as Thago's servant, will try to make a dive to catch it and will fail.
Disadvantage. That's an 8.
Oh.
The globes have these chains kind of crisscross over them that bind them to these sort of iron sconces below them, but as you put pressure on the globe, the chains kind of slip, and they weren't quite tightened well enough, and the globe gets pushed out of its bindings and falls, and you try and... Jin asks Thago... So, Jin asks... This always confuses me. Jin asks Thago...
So, Thago... Sorry, I'll clarify. Thago is masquerading as a prominent Strahd cultist.
Okay, I see.
Thago is masquerading as a prominent Strahd cultist. Jin is masquerading as Thago's servant.
Okay, I see.
Both of whom are immediately beholden to Lilith, as she is miles above them on the pantheon.
Okay,
of things.
I see. You make a dive, and the globe cracks as it hits the stone, and a couple of the nearby vampire spawns hiss, and one of them points, and you see like an invisible tray set down on the lip of one of the blood basins, and the figure comes over and lifts the globe and carries it away in a hurry out of sight.
I'm such a clumsy princess. I'm very exhausted.
Aslan, he doesn't even flinch or anything. He just says, "It's understandable. You're under a lot of pressure tonight, princess, but hopefully all things go well and you make the right choice." You're
I have
silent.
a great idea on how to settle this.
Oh. Well, I am dying to hear your idea.
I don't know if you know this, but me and my father, we don't always see eye to eye, and I think it would be best if he was out of the picture entirely. So, my idea is whoever can kill my father wins my hand.
He takes a few steps slowly towards you, and he lowers his voice. He says, tensions have always risen and fallen like the tides between the red realms. Although perhaps this evening is not the right time for such actions. If you become my wife, your will be done.
After all, I still do inherit this place.
And Barovia will be the crowning jewel to our land holdings.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps we can even make it our new capital.
Exactly.
Make like just a charisma check.
Just flat charisma.
I mean, performance, persuasion.
Persuasion, I got a +10. Let's do persuasion. How do I get a 14 with a +10?
He
Does your own aura help?
Oh,
My aura's already included.
What about
What?
Mathor? Is he close enough?
It's not a save, it's just a check.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Ignore me.
he takes your hands in his, which are like ice cold, and he kind of, grabs your hand and puts his other one over the top of it, and he says, should you choose me this evening, my lands will be your lands. Your will be done. If after these ceremonies we leave here together, I will make certain, with all my power, that your father will be dealt with, and Barovia shall be yours.
She kind of pulls her hand away and then walks away. And she looks over at Malfoy and she goes,
Mavathor, you, with your passive perception, as Lilith turns her back, you can see just a lightning quick flash of a expression change on his face that tilts a little towards anger, but then he kind of regains his composure and looks down at his half-empty goblet of blood and turns and starts to walk back up towards the stairs, and he kind of leans in, and the rest of his little party all kind of lean in, and they start whispering amongst each other.
What are they whispering?
Can you hear them?
Probably. Good chance.
Yeah,
pretty good perception. 23 passive.
You can hear Aslan say, it just speaks of treachery already before this night has begun. But I think a few months in Darkon will straighten her out.
Good intel to have.
You see there's like a red-robed figure next to him with gray skin that has like cracks in it, and on the sides and back of his bald head you can see like arcane sigils carved into his flesh, and you hear him raspily respond, shit, I knew what he was going to say and I just lost it.
Actually thought you said...
He says, well, nevertheless, Lord King, you did very well. Just like we practiced.
That's so good. That's amazing.
Is Meptor able to identify this individual, or not like specifically the individual, but who the group this individual belongs to?
Yeah, you get the impression it's probably Lord Aslan's right-hand man.
Not specifically a Red Wizard of Thay, or is that...
No, that's just the token.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Vlad, as you approach, he folds his arms and he kind of looks down at all the medals that you have in these. Very impressive for you. Looks like wherever you're from, you are honored and revered. You must have performed many acts of bravery. It is not so often I come across such a decorated woman.
Well, when your life is going from one battlefield to another, these trinkets tend to accumulate.
And where do you wage your wars?
Everywhere. Nowhere is without war. They spawn wherever there are people.
You have a warrior's spirit. I like that kind of fire. My name is Vlad Drakov. I'm sort of a military man myself.
It is always a pleasure to meet a fellow warrior. I am Mercy of the Hell Rose, the deadliest force across the multiverse.
Well, that rolls off the tongue if I don't say so. It is a pleasure to be in your presence, warrior. Perhaps, when this is all sorted, we might get to take the time to get to know each other a little better. You can visit my lands, and we can talk of strategy and trade war stories.
Those are always interesting to hear from a fellow. Are your lands besieged?
None would dare stand against me. Valkovnia is the heart of power in these lands, and my armies are the largest and fiercest. Any other lord that would ever even think of standing against me would quiver before he got the chance to think twice about it.
A fair reputation you have as well.
And any that did think twice about it have been skewered by my spear. And he pulls it off his back and taps the end of it to the ground. It's got this long, deep, jagged blade at the top end, and you can even see that there's like dried blood on some of the edges still. Those who know me in battle know me as Vlad the Impaler.
Titles are always fun things. I have a few myself, as well as some armaments that might be of interest to you. And she's just going to subtly move the edge of her coat to show off the hilts of her swords and the handle of her gun.
Let me make a quick little insight check here. He says, no.
If I need to, I have advantage on deception and intimidation with undead.
Well, I was just rolling to see if he might recognize the Sun Sword.
Fair enough.
He points to your firearm and he says, now that looks like an impressive weapon of war. Did you make it yourself?
I had a hand in the design, and I keep it in pristine condition, as you should all your tools. Can't have a jam in the middle of combat.
He kind of looks up at the dried blood on his spear and he says, that is an excellent practice to keep. However, some of the foes that I fight have keen senses, and I like to leave a scent in the air as a reminder that I am not to be crossed.
If you might like, I could show you how this works.
By all means. Would you like a target?
Oh, I was thinking those gaudy orbs that Strahd has upon the banisters. Perhaps it's just experience, but something tells me that they are more than just for show, and I do not trust such things, especially when such important guests are present.
He says, a woman of your experience needs a moving target. And he turns and he shoves one of his vampire thralls towards the wall. And he says, let's see how quick your draw is. And you can see a momentary look of like shock on the thrall's face, but then she like hunches down to get ready to like try and dodge your shot.
Okay, so I need to make an attack roll then?
Yeah.
Please work.
Please.
Sego will accidentally bump into the thrall, giving Mercy advantage.
Sure. Nat 20. Go ahead.
Yeah, she will just
Click that damage.
she'll just shoot the thing right between the eyes before it can even get into position.
Yeah.
And for flavor, can I say that just the energy of the dragon shard kind of leaves kind of like a feeling in the air that would maybe disquiet someone not used to such things, since he talked about leaving a scent to warn others.
Yeah.
I love the smell of sulfur and cordite in the morning.
Roll your damage for me.
Chink.
The vampire spawn's head kind of snaps back, and she.
Oh wait, there should be extra because of the crit, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, isn't it? Yeah, that's
It rolled the
already-
crit. It rolled it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's rolled in.
You
already.
just got
Oh, okay.
some lows. She like stumbles and falls to one knee, and Vlad lets out a loud chuckle, and he says, "You are an excellent shot. I would hate to meet you on the front lines of battle. Very impressive, Mercy. Very impressive."
This is nothing should you cross blades with me. But I appreciate the compliments. Perhaps we might have chance to witness each other in action sometime.
He says, well, I guess it's fortunate for me that we're not here to fight this evening. You'll have to tell me when we have some time alone where I can get my hands on some of those.
It would be a pleasure, as it does not appear as though anyone here is... Well, let's just say they seem a little more than wet behind the ears, compared to yourself and myself.
He says, well, it takes a special character to make it through as many battles as you and I have and live to tell the tale. I should probably go and introduce myself to the princess soon, but hopefully we'll get a more chance to speak before the evening's over. I would like to learn much more about you.
Well, if you are so lucky as to gain her more permanent presence, then I'm sure we will see plenty of each other.
He grins and he says, well, now that I've met you, I don't know if I'm very interested in her choosing me anymore. But then he gives you a nod, he stows his spear, and he says, but we'll speak again later. And,
I look forward to it.
he, makes his way over, towards Lilith. I'm very proud of myself for not making any Vlad the Impaler dick jokes when I had a spear out.
I was waiting for him.
It was right there. It was right there.
Someone's gonna do it. Someone's gonna do it.
Save it for Cass. Save it for Cass. Save it for Cass.
No. Can I make an insight on him, though?
Sure. What are you trying
And
to
I
insight?
have advantage because of favorite enemy, so straight roll.
What are you trying to tell about him?
I want to know, basically how genuine he was with what he was saying. Like, if I've shifted his attentions off of Lilith, or if he's just trying to play coy.
You get the impression from speaking with him that Lord Vlad is a lord that makes his own choices, and if he sees something that he likes or wants, his attention will focus more on that, and that although there might be some status and benefits that would come from wedding Lilith, he seems to be much more intrigued by Mercy now that he's met her.
I will file that away for future planning. And just manage not to... She'll roll her eyes a little bit with a smile as though playing it off like, oh, how coy. But really it's just, this guy.
Yeah, he is. You do also get the impression that he is quite full of himself, as probably all the lords are, one way or another. He does make his way over towards you, Lilith. His tone kind of flattens out, and he says, "Good evening, Princess. It is a pleasure to be in your presence this evening. Your Lord Father has written many kind words about you to us, and it would be a great gift to earn your hand, if you so find that is the path you choose."
Alright, she's gonna try a different angle this time.
He says, I can promise you that in Falcovnia you will be revered and protected. And not
What would be a...
Go ahead.
You know what would be a really great way to decide who I'm going to choose? A battle royale of sorts. You guys should all fight to see who's... No, she does not. This was their plan, she's sticking to it. Well, the plan that was in the works, at least.
Only the strongest is worthy of my hand.
Only the strongest is worthy of my hand. Aww!
Vlad says, nothing would please me more than to drive my spear into any one of these other vampire lords this evening, but there are traditions, and right now Castle Ravenloft is neutral ground. The thought
Addition's supposed to be changed, though? Isn't that the way, where it evolves as we grow?
Unfortunately, this evening, we are all here bound by old, dark magic. And to a certain degree, our wills are no longer our own. We have come to be chosen, and that power lies on you.
A student of old traditions, does that ring any bells?
You can make an insight
Rather,
check.
as a student of old traditions, uh, uh, does that sort of magic ring any bells? I guess is what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
you can make an insight check.
All right. 18.
You get the impression that, from what you know through Lilith's memories and the way that Lord Vlad is currently speaking, that he's sort of referring to the dark powers.
Well, you know how we could end that. By ending my father, of course. It is his magic, isn't it?
There are things at work this evening, Princess. Greater than I, you, or your father. Although it is your father that has called us here for this endeavor. He's been given guidance by the powers that lord over us all.
Relative. It could very well be just him.
You cut out for the first... I didn't hear the whole first chunk of that.
Oh, she said, you know, my father is very manipulative. This could just all be him.
Your father is cunning, and we have had our differences, but I can feel the gaze of the dark powers upon me even now. And even I can be humble enough to know that I should not act out of turn this night.
Unfortunate. I guess I'll have to decide some other way.
Well, I'll be here all evening if there is more you wish to know of me, and what I could do for you in case you choose. In case it is my hand that you choose to form a dark union.
Be sure to seek you out if that is the choice.
He makes his way over and finds a floating tray and gets another goblet of blood that he downs, and then he takes up another one. He comes back and engages Mercy as best he can in a bit more pleasant conversation.
I have tasted far more exotic things, but these offerings are palatable.
Have you drinking any blood, Mercy?
Here or otherwise?
Like, do you have a goblet?
I suppose she does now, since he's probably going to offer one.
Yeah, when he comes back, he says, are you, thirsty, Mercy? Oh, is the libations provided not to your taste?
She will smile in a way that shows her own fangs. We may be different, but a few things might be similar. And she's just going to take the goblet and take a drink.
Roll a d20 for me.
Please tell me that's not bad.
Mercy, when you take a drink from the goblet, it doesn't taste like blood to you. It tastes a bit more along the lines of a very fine old wine. You were expecting sort of an aftertaste of iron and a thickness to the liquid, but it goes down quite smoothly. For a brief moment, there's a bit of a crimson aura that sort of sprinkles out from you and fades. And you have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage until your next long rest.
Oh.
Okay. Well, she's just going to look down into the goblet and... Well, perhaps sometime I can share with you some of the more exotic things I've tasted.
I dream of that day, and I hope that this evening doesn't drag on too long, so we can discuss more pleasant matters. After you guys have a bit of conversation with some of the nearby dreadlords, Lord Brune has been sort of stoically watching from the balcony up above, and Lilith, you kind of glance up and you can see him like take a deep breath and kind of let out a sigh as he looks like he's about to make his way down the steps to engage you in conversation.
Well, kind of leans back to Mavithor and goes, "Hey, look, it's another djinn."
But then he sort of stands up to his full broad height and he plasters a handsome grin on his face, and he takes like a few steps towards the top stair, and then the globes around the room begin to sort of flicker. And some of the dreadlords, along with their retainers, all sort of turn to gaze up atop the highest risen balcony where the stairs all wind up to. And you guys can see sort of, at first, just the deep widow's peak of your father, Lilith, as he approaches the front of the balcony. Whoops. What did I just do? Can you guys see Strahd's token?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
There we go.
I don't know if it's because I'm zoomed out all the way, but for some reason he looked like Zangolf to me.
Strahd, dressed in regal formal wear, a brand new billowing white and gray cloak, crimson red frilled shirt. He's got a big golden chain draped down the front of his chest. He makes his way to the front of the balcony and sort of flaps his cape back and puts a hand on the hilt of his sword. And before Strahd speaks, we'll take our mid-session break real quick. Because I need some water.
For
After this, I might need a shower.
Hey, I didn't get that bad.